Developments at Qantas have generally continued to be primarily negative, with the Australian carrier going through some of its most challenging times yet. However, in its latest forecast, they've actually announced that they will be expecting a solid return to profit amid a significant rise in demand across the network. Profits that would reach USD 815 million or AUD 1.3 billion to the year ending. A telling tale of Australia's recovery from the pandemic, following lockdowns that were in place for so long and so strict, especially on international travel. Qantas says there's also still demand to capture, although they'll need to follow through with the mass hiring of additional staff members if they are to do this. Qantas decided during the pandemic to offload a sizable amount of its essential but also experienced workforce to save money and to also then subsequently outsource the work. As a result, those taking on the said roles have been severely less experienced. But due to the clear-out, they also face the lack of training and mentorship necessary to thrive in the role, whether that be working on the ground or inside the airport. Pair that with the lack of employees, with so much, as Qantas CEO Alan Joyce calls it, pent-up demand, and the staff are doing the job of three, while only being themselves. Employees are therefore overworked, stressed, and also tired. Qantas has been a leading figure in the recovery of the Asian Pacific sector, with it coming a lot quicker than those other airlines that dominate that area of the globe usually. This comes down to restrictions still being implemented in some of these places, or if the restrictions have eased, there simply hasn't been enough time for the conditions to recover enough for demand to, say, put any airline back in a profitable state. Exhibit A is Japan. Yes, while the restrictions have now eased, it undoubtedly has not been for long enough. Exhibit B is Hong Kong. Yes, travel restrictions have eased, but visiting as a tourist is essentially impossible, with the tests required and much more just to enter the place. It deters a lot of tourists from visiting. We're therefore really focusing on the northern part of Asia that has kept its borders shut a little tighter, and therefore the airlines located here have struggled more, with Indonesia, Singapore, and generally the southern part of Asia opening up, and airlines located in this part have significantly benefited as well from the support from their government with additional funding, looking at those ones based in Singapore. Those located further north have a long road to recovery, and they'll see many significant ups and downs before eventually moving to more sustainable results, demand and load factors across the board. Australians, however, can be encouraged that people are once again travelling. However, for Qantas, there's still more work to do, and work generally to rebuild the relationship and also trust with customers, following a series of disastrous incidents, incredibly harsh comments from their executives, and much more. To Jester the Flash Cuban got to cast with B, Daniel Elliott, Leslie Austin 9, Will Jaden Al-Walid, Neil Don, and Jam. Thanks for being cabin crew members. If you have any thoughts on the Australian carrier, or potentially how I briefly mentioned some of that recovery in the general Asia Pacific region, do let me know below in the comments. Enjoy what's left of your weekend, and I will see you next time.